friends, Pam Shepherd with Pamela Shepherd Productions here. And several of you have asked me, where have you been? What's been going on? You haven't posted anything for a couple of months. So I thought I better come on here and tell you what's going on in my life. On November the 15th, I was exposed to COVID-19. And the reason that I know it's November, or I knew it was November the 15th, it was at our church. And then right after that, our pastor and his wife and several people from our church ended up with the COVID-19. So after several days, I started feeling kind of bad. And I thought mostly that I had a sinus infection. And then my head was hurting really bad. So I started taking some medication for sinus, and I started putting hot packs on my face to try to get the pain down because I was hurting really bad. And anyhow, so several days went by, and I thought, good grief, I just don't feel good at all. And so I typed this all up in order. So then I just didn't feel good. And then a few days later, my lower back, my left side started hurting so bad I could hardly stand it. So I thought, okay, I must have a UTI, you know. And so I called the doctor's office and said, can I come in? I just don't feel good. And I was taking Tylenol and ibuprofen for all of this. And it was so bad that I was just moaning and groaning and rolling all around and what have you. So anyhow, I went into the doctor's and she said, oh my gosh, as much pain as you're in, you look like you have kidney stones. You're just moaning and groaning, and I couldn't be still. It was awful. So she sent me over to the hospital to have a CT scan. Well, they couldn't really find anything to do with kidney stones or anything like that with the CT scan, but they saw that I had pneumonia in my lower left lung. And so anyhow, they gave me some medication to help me with the pneumonia, and I just was in so much pain. So by the 23rd, that's when they did this CT scan and found out that I had pneumonia. And well, then after that, I started throwing up and having the diarrhea. And by the 25th now, I'm coughing and getting a little bit short of breath. So needless to say, it was that's when I had the test. I think actually was on the day before Thanksgiving, so I think that was the 26th, and I did test positive for COVID. So my husband and I stayed home alone, and we didn't do the Thanksgiving we were going to do because I just didn't feel good anyhow. Well, finally then, a couple of days later, our county brought by one of those oxygenators that you put on your finger to see how your blood level, your oxygen is in your blood level. So mine was very low. It's supposed to be 95 or higher. Mine was between 80 and 84, and we couldn't get it up any higher. So I called my niece, who was a registered nurse, and she said, well, that is not good. You need it to be higher than that, so you need to go into the emergency room. So we took off and went to the emergency room, and they gave me IVs and gave me medication for the some different medication for the pneumonia, and then they sent me home. Well, it just I couldn't get my oxygen up, and I started really feeling bad, and I couldn't breathe, and they did a bunch of labs and stuff. So by December the 1st now, I was really struggling with breath and coughing, and so my husband called the ambulance again, the second time now. And at this point, I honestly didn't think I was going to make it because I was struggling to breathe, and it was really tough. The coughing and the breathing, it was horrible. I didn't think I was going to live. So I went in the ambulance to the hospital, and I was really struggling. So by later in the day, I was in the emergency room, and my doctor came in, and they ended up sending me up to the PCU, whatever that is. So I went up to the PCU. They started me on remdesivir and dexamethasone or strone, whatever it's called. It's a steroid, and blood thinners and antibiotics and vitamins. And I had to stay on the level 4 of oxygen. I was really struggling to breathe. And they came in the next day, December the 2nd, and they did an x-ray of me while I was in the PCU. And they said, you have what's called COVID-19 pneumonia in both lungs. So by the 3rd, December the 3rd now, I completely lost my taste and my smell. And I thought I was not going to make it. I just wasn't well. But by the next day, after taking all this medication and the blood thinners and the... I was going to sew while I was talking to you, and I didn't do it. All the things like that. I got busy, and I thought for sure I did feel better. I thought, okay, I think I do feel better, so I think I might make it. So, but I just couldn't eat anything or stuff like that. But I was in that PCU. They kept giving me all the different medications and taking care of me. Well, finally by December the 5th, I think it was, I got to go down to the medical floor. So when I got to the medical floor, I certainly felt better. And then there was, I'm going to get some of this thread here. There was this lady in my room. She actually looked a bit grumpy, and I told my daughter, I said, wow, my roommate looks kind of grumpy. So when they had me in a bed, they pushed the whole bed to that floor, and she was sitting in a wheelchair. So I said to my daughter, I said, I don't know, she looks really grumpy, and she had COVID also. But what I found out after a little while of being in that room, got me all settled in my bed and got me hooked up to the oxygen in that room and everything, then I found out that this lady, 2 of her daughters had died that day of COVID. Her daughter, she had a 62-year-old daughter and a 63-year-old daughter. And the one that was 63 had died at 1:30 that day. She ended up, she had COVID also, and it affected her heart. It caused her to have strokes and heart attacks, and then she ended up brain dead, and she died at 1:30 that day. And her other daughter had already had some, I guess, lung issues, and she died just before they wheeled me to that room. And they were actually in the same hospital. In fact, the one daughter was just right down the hall from where we were, and she passed away, 62 years old, of COVID in her, like I said, right down the hall. The thing is this, I don't even know how to feel about COVID. One thing I can tell you is I am so thankful to be alive, and so thankful that that I did make it. I do look at life a little bit differently, I have to say. It just didn't matter. I'm a very, very Christmas person. I decorate numerous trees. I really wrap my packages a certain way. I want to make sure everything is right. I have my children come over on Christmas Eve and give everybody a present that's pajamas, and with all the grandbabies and stuff, I give them pajamas and a toy, because it seems more fun for them to actually have a toy with them that day. And so I was too sick to even order stuff online, and I basically hadn't done much Christmas shopping at all, because I got sick the day before Thanksgiving for some reason. I just left it all to go for right at Christmas time. So I kept thinking, it doesn't matter. I'll do the best I can, and whatever happens, happens. I am just so thankful that I'm alive, and I get to be with my children and my grandchildren, and we get to have a wonderful Christmas, whether I have presents there or not. I thought, well, I can always give everybody gift cards, if nothing else. So I got to come home because they had given me a prescription for oxygen at my house. And at that time I was still on 4 liters of oxygen. I'm really doing pretty good. I got a little bit busy today and decided to clean up the living room a bit, straighten it up, and start sweeping and everything. So I got myself a little bit breathless, really heavy breather, and so that's why my voice is so weird right now. I had a real hard time with my lungs and had to do a little bit of oxygen for a while, but I am so much better. I am so thankful to be alive, and that is why I haven't done a video. But I have some very fun things for this next year planned. One thing I decided that I wanted for my birthday in January, everybody keeps saying, what do you want for your birthday? What do you want for your birthday? All my kids and everybody. And I said, you know what I've decided? We actually live in the city. It's a small town, but you can have a couple of chickens if you live in town, but you can't have any roosters. They don't want any cock-a-doodle-doing going on. So I said, I think I want 3 chickens for my birthday this year. So I've been looking up all kinds of fancy chicken coops. If you know me at all, it seems like a weird request that I want chickens for my birthday. And because I'm a little bit prissy, I like bling bling, and I really like Shabby Chic, and so I'm planning to make the chicken coop really cute. I'm actually planning to put like a little chandelier in it even. So that's fun. So I do look at life a little bit differently since this happened. I had to self-quarantine for 2 weeks after I came home. I had to go in for lab work. I have to go back in for a little bit more lab work, and I go in on January the 28th. I'm staying pretty much home. I ride in the car with my husband different places. I was able to actually, come up with Christmas gifts for my kids. I did order things online, and most of it came on time. It was so fun. And so it was a beautiful Christmas. I don't even think I could have had a better time if I tried. And so it was wonderful, and I loved everything about it. And thank you so much for asking me about how I am and what's going on and why am I not putting up videos. So I thought, well, I'll get busy and put this one up. Where have I been? What in the world has been going on? But I'm so thankful to be alive. I didn't know it at the time, but I guess my children were calling around to all kinds of doctors and trying to get me special medication to help me overcome this. And I've certainly read some horror stories, after that. And I'm so thankful they gave me blood thinners. I had to have shots in my tummy every day, and they gave me quite a few vitamins and aspirin. And because I guess one of the things when you get this COVID-19, especially the pneumonia, it will cause it tends to cause blood clots, and so some people end up having strokes, like that young woman, my roommate's daughter, ended up having strokes and heart attack, and then she died. And so I'm just so thankful and grateful to be alive, and I'm being very careful, and I have so many fun things. I've made myself a big long list of things that I'd like to achieve, and I'm just so thankful. And I just wanted to let you guys know that's where I've been. And I'll have another video that I'm just about to make. I got some way fun stuff for Christmas that I'm going to show you what I'm going to do with it. As soon as I do the next video, I'll show you. But I really do appreciate all of you so much. Thank you so much for being my subscribers, and your comments and concern and prayers. Prayers have, I think, brought me through this whole entire thing. But I just want to thank you, and just let you know that I'm back and I'm doing well. And we'll see all you good people later, okay? All right, bye-bye.